Hello everyone, this is Killenberg. Today I'm going to be reviewing Jigsaw. Now if you haven't seen it yet, I would recommend not watching this video, because this review will contain spoilers. So this takes place 10 years after the first one, and in the main trap we see 5 people with like buckets on their heads. They find out they have to cut themselves with the saws to escape. Now I'd like to point out the 5th one is never shown escaping. So like in the other Saw movies, these people are being punished for something they've done. See, there's chains that pull them, and they start confessing to what they've done. So then they grab the tape, and we find out Carly, she actually stole this other woman's purse, and the woman had asthma and she ended up dying. So she had the choice of injecting these 3 things, or they would hang. Failure to do so, then Ryan stabs her with all 3 of them, and that ends it. That releases them. See, meanwhile, they find this body of a guy they call Buckethead. And of course that's not his actual name. So then Detective Halloran, I think his name is Halloran. I actually didn't catch it when watching the movie, but yeah. So anyway, if you correct me, that's fine. But he became suspicious of Logan, who is another detective. And he's also a former doctor whose wife was killed years prior. And he also suspected Eleanor. See, Eleanor, they found out she's actually obsessed with Jigsaw. Like they even found out she even has a studio full of like devices. And there's one particular device she has that Logan said was never used. And she said maybe the bodies were never found. Then with the other people, Ryan, there's a door that says no exit. And he says, oh, we should go through it because he doesn't want us to go through it, But then his legs break through the floor. And then there's these wires that squeeze his legs. So then they go in another trap. Oh yeah, they have to find the tape too, which is like in that area. I mean, in the area where his leg is at. And we found out Mitch, one of the other guys, sold someone a bike. I'll get back to that in a minute though. Oh, I forgot to mention, Anna says that her husband killed their baby by laying on top of him. I'll get back to that as well. But they go in this, Mitch and Anna go in this trap that fills with sand, and Ryan has to pull the lever. Eventually he does do it. Oh yeah, and also knives and like rakes and stuff fall when that's happening too. But yeah, the thing with Mitch, see that one trap that Logan said was never used in the Jigsaw case, we actually see that trap. See, it has like a bike on it, and Mitch has to grab the brakes into the machine. See, we find out that he sold someone a motorcycle, but the brakes were faulty. Now here's what's interesting. The person in the motorcycle, the guy in the motorcycle, got killed by getting hit. Now here's what's even more interesting. That was Jigsaw's nephew. Yeah, so this guy killed Jigsaw's nephew. Well, by accident, but still. So Anna tries to put something in the wheel, but it only stops it for a little bit, and Mitch ends up dying. Now see, Anna finds another door and tries to escape, but then we see someone with one of the pig masks, catch her. So then they inject her with, something to knock her out. I don't really know what they use exactly. But then we see Anna and Ryan wake up chained down. And we see a guy in a cloak. And for those that don't know, it's the iconic cloak that you see Jigsaw wear. It turns out to be Jigsaw. And I will admit, this confused me. This is kind of why I'm going to spoil it a little bit, but like I said, if you haven't watched the movie, you probably shouldn't be watching this video right now. I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but I'm just saying, so I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't seen it. We find out that they haven't been completely honest about what happened. And turns out Ryan was actually, when he was a teenager, he was a party goer. Well, I mean, you should say a party goer, but he used to be one of those people who was too drunk to care. And he was hanging out of a car with his friends. Then he fell out of it, and it caused his friends and another driver to crash, and they all 3 died. And he tried to say it was the driver. Now with Anna, we find out that... Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, Ryan has a yellow, padlock, and Anna has a green one. That's kind of important, but back to Anna. It turns out Jigsaw was actually her neighbor, and she actually killed her own baby with a pillow and put her baby's body by her husband's side while he was sleeping. And not just that, it ended up making him go crazy and eventually killing himself. So then Jigsaw, or John Kramer, gives them this gun. Well, a shotgun. And he said that it's the key to their freedom, pretty much. So Anna tries to shoot Ryan. The gun ended up actually killing her. And in the shotgun shell was the keys. And of course they are the color of the padlocks, green and yellow. So then we see Logan and Halloran awake in laser traps. This laser trap. It's actually pretty cool. And see, if they didn't do anything, it would have went off in a minute anyway. But Halloran agrees to go first. But he actually pushes the button to Logan's. So then his goes off and he has to confess. But it was unsuccessful. So then Halloran starts. But then we see Logan is actually still alive. And he reveals that this trap we just watched actually happened 10 years ago. And he actually shows that the bodies are rotting. So this is where it shot me, because like I said, I was confused because John Kramer died and they showed his autopsy. But since this happened 10 years ago, that explains it. That explains how he's still alive. Now we find out that the guy who we never saw us actually get out of the trap from the beginning was actually Logan all along. Jigsaw wasn't diagnosed early enough. He actually mixed up the two labels. And Jigsaw didn't feel that he should die for a simple mistake. But we find out, obviously, Halloran allowed criminals to walk free. So we find out that basically Logan was actually an apprentice of Jigsaw all along. They even showed a flashback where Jigsaw even mentioned that Logan taught him not to be vengeful. And this is interesting because I actually questioned that, why in the third one he was mad at someone for being vengeful, but then they said he was vengeful in the fourth one. Because for those that don't know, these are they show flashbacks in these movies, so they kind of go back and forth. But the point was also after this, since Halloran didn't confess, Logan kind of set up for him to be blamed as the copycat Jigsaw killer. But the lasers end up cutting him. And Logan says that he speaks for the dead. And then and then he shuts the door and that's the end of the movie. Wow, where do I start with this? I love this movie. And I'm actually in the minority, so keep that in mind if you're watching this review and haven't seen it yet. I'm in the minority. I've actually liked all 8 movies. And I know some people say, oh, well, they got bad after the third one. I disagree. I don't think it ever got bad. And I will admit in Saw 7, or 3D, or Final Chapter, whatever you want to call it, because it has multiple names, I didn't like how it had pink blood. But that was the only flaw in my opinion. It had a good storyline still. Now, I really hope they make a 9th one. Maybe even a 10th one. Alright, so I hope you liked my review of Jigsaw. I'll see you guys again soon.